Hello, what's up guys? Mike Patrick. In this video I want to talk about how fasting strengthens your stomach and makes you less dependent on food, okay, or outside sources of food. Alright guys, now I'm gonna start this video by telling a little story, okay, on how I found out that fasting for a certain amount of time, a genuine fast, a good fast, a real fast, actually strengthens your stomach, okay? And how you don't over time you don't need as much food. Alright, so back in 2012 guys, I went to the USA Boxing National Championships out in Colorado. Alright, at the time I was fighting at a weight that I was scheduled to fight at a weight that was way below my natural weight, and I should have been trying to fight at, okay? So the point is I had to cut a whole lot of weight just to be able to step on the scale and make weight for this tournament, okay guys? So I go, you know what I mean, we get a rental car or whatnot. We take off about 4 days before, you know, we got to be there or whatever, and we got a hotel room along the way and things like that. And the thing is guys, for like 3-4 days I didn't eat or drink anything, okay? I didn't eat or drink anything. All I would do is I had tobacco, and I would dip tobacco because that helps you cut weight as well, as opposed to swallowing. You're constantly spitting out your fluids, so therefore, you know, you kind of dehydrating yourself in that way too, and not putting on weight or cutting weight, okay? And so I did that for about 3-4 days prior to having to step on the scale. This is the extreme measure I had to take, because that's how much weight I needed to lose to be able to fight at that weight. Even though I was in good shape, great shape and everything, but let's just say naturally, you know what I mean, being in great shape, being ripped up, cut up, I maybe 155, okay? Now me trying to get down to 141 was stretching it, so I had to go through an extreme measure in order to be able to step on the scale and weigh that, okay? Now, what I found is after I weighed in, made weight, mind you, I haven't ate anything or even drank water in like 3 days, 3 or 4 days, okay? So naturally I go to get something to drink, okay? Because before, if you're doing a fast and you're doing a dry fast at that, the first thing you're going to want is some fluids. You're going to want some water if you ain't had water in say 2 or 3 days, okay? It ain't going to be the food that you run to first, all right? And they say, and hence they say you can go months without eating actual, like, you know, solid food, but you can't go any more than maybe 2 or 3 days without water, okay? So I go to drink something, but as I swallowed the drink, I realized that as it gets down to my stomach and my intestinals or whatnot, I noticed like it's this knot there. It feels like it's a knot there. It wasn't a knot there, but it feels like it's a knot there. And the reason was my stomach has shrunk so much from not eating in like 3 or 4 days, or not swallowing anything, having anything go and digest into my stomach, alright, that my stomach actually shrank. Now, that's just me being a science on my own. See, that's the thing, a scientist on my own. And so let me put this point in here real quick, guys. So nature and experience is the best teachers, okay? Everything else, when people teach you something, it's indoctrination. That's why, like, even with my children, I always emphasize that I want to teach you guys how to think, not what to think, but how to think, okay? So it's the difference between indoctrination and then you being able to just pick up things from nature and experience. That's how the Most High communicates a lot of times. All right, now back to this though, real quick. So I found that out though. So now what would happen naturally over time, mind you, around this time, I'm getting more health conscious as far as eating better food and things like that. I always exercise, being an athlete, so I always have exercised to a certain degree. But at the same time, I'm still evolving as far as fast. Like I don't think I ever had done a fast at that point. Or yes, I had done a fast before, but they were like more so like extreme fast or extended fast, where it wasn't. Right now we hear about intermittent fasting a lot. That's really popular right now, and so I would consider anything over a day to be an extreme fast or an extended fast. So I did do a few. I did have a few situations where I might have did like 1 or 2 days of fasting. So I was starting. You know, it's a progression. So I was starting to come into. but I wasn't nowhere near all the way there yet. Are we ever? So the thing is, though, what I would do is, naturally what happened is I would start eating less. I would start eating less, and then it got to a point where I really wouldn't eat all day. So it became a natural intermittent fast for me. But I wouldn't eat all during the day. This is how it progressed. This is how it evolved. And then I would mash at night. All right, I would go in at night and eat, whatever I wanted. Then it evolved to I would still eat my healthy food and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. I was still, like I said, coming into health consciousness, and I was still getting it in, but not as much. All right, and I would just mash at night after not eating much during the day. All right, so then it evolved to I needed to make sure that I was still getting my macronutrients and certain antioxidants and vitamins and minerals in. So I started eating just like fruit and vegetables and things like that during the day. But I would abstain from any other type of food, so I would get that up in me. I would consider myself like getting that up in me during the day, so I know I've gotten all those type of foods up in me, like, you know what I mean? And then at night, I would eat like solid foods or pleasure foods and things like that. So it evolved to that, okay, guys? Which is all still kind of good, and it works, because when you fasting all day like that and you still active, you know what I mean? Plus, if you break build the fast up to where you're eating something, but it's just fruits and vegetables and things like that, you are getting everything you need. You are giving your body time to do what it needs to do, and then you're giving the body the things it needs at night after you've been kind of starving it for a whole day. You know what I mean? So it can now better assimilate those nutrients, even the ones that may not be the best when you eat something that you know ain't that healthy later on at night. So it evolved to that. Then what happened was, as I got healthier, as I ate less, as I got more and more used to intermittent fasting and just naturally not eating all throughout the day, my stomach, it had the strength based on the fact that what happened was, over time, I would not eat as much at night now. So I would go all day and fast, or just eat some fruits and vegetables, something like that, have some water or juice, whatever. You know what I mean? For the most part, that's about it. You know what I mean? But then I noticed I wouldn't be ready to mash out at night. I'll be thinking in my head like I'm about to mash out, I'm about to eat all this food. And then like I'll eat some of it, and then it's like I'm good. I didn't even have to eat all that. You know what I mean? And so that goes to show you that your stomach shrinks, and it makes you, less needy as far as having a whole bunch of food. It's less tolerant. As long as you're getting the nutrients you're supposed to get, it shrinks your stomach. So you're it's not necessarily that you're not as hungry, but it's when you get hungry. But it's like when you do get hungry, you don't feel like you need a buffet. You know what I mean? You might take 1 or 2 bites or something, and then you good, you sustain. So just imagine how beneficial that could be in times where, for one, I don't even want to say in times where you don't have as much food, or you're not getting as much food and things like that, but even just from a health standpoint, it's healthier to eat less, you know what I mean, and things like that. So, and so I felt like this was a good thing to share. And another point when it comes to fasting that I don't think I've ever heard anybody else talk about, and that's the fact that your stomach does shrink, making you less likely to need food, meaning you can eat less food. Okay, guys, and that's I think that's a good thing, right? And also, what it does, guys, is it's certain things that stimulated through fasting, like autophagy. I got videos in the past. Put in certain little keywords like that. Even if you don't hear it from me, wherever you hear it from, like put in things like autophagy, and you see how fasting has all these different responses, okay, and things that it can do to help you stay healthy or get you healthy. These different responses and stimuli kick in when you're in a fasted state, and it helps you remain healthy or get healthy, okay? And when you eat, a lot of times what you do is when your stomach is a certain size, it lets off certain stimulants and hormones and chemicals that interact with the brain in ways of where your brain sends signals of hormones that you need to stay healthy and young and energetic and things like that. When your stomach becomes too more expanded, the production of these hormones and these different stimuli and chemicals don't kick in as much, and in some cases it gets to a point where it's not working at all, and then it contributes to a lot of degenerative diseases and things like that. So that's another reason you want to keep your stomach at strength, not too big, so you can produce these different gases and chemicals and stimulants to stay healthy altogether. So there's always so much to it in different prongs, guys. Hopefully this was helpful. So one more time, fasting is good for shrinking your stomach too, making you less likely to have to depend on as much food. Okay? So if nothing else, that. But then we know of all the other different benefits. I'm not going to make this video too long or talk about that. I did talk about autophagy, okay? And we know fat burning, obviously, you know what I mean, and things like that. So, yeah, guys. Hopefully this was a good video. Peace.